Thank you. Part of that is, how can I love me more?
That's right.
Well, that's true. How can we be kinder to each other and to ourselves as well? It's part of the whole picture here. It's all one thing. Yeah. So this topic, nowhere to hide, it's kind of like, oh, Rob, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome, Rob's father. I'm glad to see you here today. We have missed you very much, Rob, and it's a great pleasure to have you here this morning with us. Everyone's been asking about you, so nice to have you with us. Glad you're here. I know it is. It's a pleasure. So we're talking today about this idea of on being God. You know, that's a stretch for a lot of people. We don't want to own it, don't want to claim it, don't want to recognize our own divinity. This idea of on being God and then seeing the perfection in every moment, no matter how it shows up. Now that's the trick. That's the trick of being able to see the perfection in the moment. And most of it comes right down to our key work here in this community, which is to be able to embrace the human stuff and then to express our divinity, to see the divinity within whatever is going on. And I love the quote that we used in our email this week, because I'm going to remind you of what that said, because I believe this is the truth, and I've experienced this in the last couple of weeks for myself, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. When we get disconnected from the truth of our being, when we can't remember that we are an expression of the energy of God. In other words, we get so wrapped up in the human stuff, the condition of the world, the condition of whatever's going on. When we get so wrapped up and forget who we really are, we are ignorant, we are agitated, and we're unskillful in our human walk in the world. It's just that simple. We need this balance point where we're remembering our divinity and we're navigating this human condition. Both and, not either or. And that's where the trick is. And it doesn't take a lot to throw us off balance, to distract us, so that we forget the truth of our being. We forget, that's right, I am that energy that God is. And guess what? Wherever I am, God is. God's within this thing too. It doesn't take a lot to throw us off balance. Because when we get all wrapped up in the human, stuff, the complexity of the human stuff, it gets difficult sometimes. Because we all live in our own little bubble, don't we? Yeah. And we get real tight in what we're willing to allow in. And our universe begins to shrink. And it becomes whatever is inside that little bubble. And so if everything's beautiful and everything has the appearance of one of those unfolding flowers, great. Then we can remember the truth of our divinity. We can remember who we are. Oh, I see God everywhere in all of this. But when our bubble is very tight and it's filled with chaos or complexity or not feeling well or whatever's going on for us or big changes in our life experience, when that's going on, our bubble then, the center of our world, starts to look very different than it does when we're remembering the truth of our being. Because we're always at the very center of our very own circle. And how big our universe is depends on our perspective. So when I'm very confined and I'm very attached to my human stuff and the stuff going on, I'm probably going to shrink my universe to that. If I'm in a bigger perception of what's going on, a bigger perspective, my world and my universe will get bigger. It's just that simple. Because everything around me forms my universe. And what I allow in makes a big difference. I love what Alan Watts says. Alan Watts was the master teacher that we worked with last week. I love his quote. I am the universe, I am the aperture through which the universe is looking at itself. That's why I picked this image. I am that. I am the perspective that I bring to my experience of life. And if I've got the perspective that remembers the truth of my being, my wholeness, my radiance, my beauty, my essence, I'm bringing that. If I'm not remembering, that I'm bringing something different, you see. And most of the time, we're balancing somewhere in between. But this idea of nowhere to hide, it really doesn't matter where we go or what we do, because guess what? We always take ourselves with us, don't we? No matter who said, no matter, you know, where you are, there you are, or whatever it is, wherever you go, there you are, you know? It's been my experience. It's really hard to hide from yourself. It's really hard to hide from your experience of yourself. And so it's really important for us to be pretty darn clear about who we are, so that, you know, when we're with ourselves, it's an experience that is not going to be paralyzing or crippling, because there's nowhere to hide from the truth of our own being. Now, can it be camouflaged? You know, in the Christian tradition, there's the story of hiding your light under a bushel. Well, the fact of the matter is the light still there? Yeah, but it's just under the bushel, trying to hide from itself, but it can't. It cannot hide from itself. But we do this a lot in our own walk in the world. You know, we just like want to pull the covers over our head, like the guy in the opening image, and stick our head like an ostrich, so we don't have to deal with stuff. No, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to hide from this. I'm not going to own my radiance. I'm not going to own my divinity within this experience. But you know what? There's nowhere to go other than right where we are. It's that simple. Wherever we are is where we are, and whatever's happening is there for us as this awakening. I loved Pema Chodron. She says whether it's a raindrop or a dog poo, it's there for our awakening, whatever it is. It's there for us to pay attention to it and go, oh, okay, I see you. I see you. Now what? Now what? So this week I want to share a little bit. I'm going to really cut my talk down because I haven't been feeling real well. What I know is this is a perfect topic for me this week, because for the past couple of weeks I've really liked the idea of hiding, mostly from myself. Because if I could get out of where I am and the way I'm feeling, now I'm going to be talking about feeling not well in the body. But I want you to think about what's going on in your own life. Maybe you're having financial problems. Maybe you're having a relationship problem. Maybe you're having a job problem. Maybe, you know, whatever is going on for you. Maybe you've had an accident. Maybe stuff is going on in your life. Well, not maybe, it is. It is, it's going on. There's stuff going on in your life, I know that. So whatever's going on for you, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the fact that I'm one of the bajillion people on our planet that has this darn flu stuff going on. So there's a part of me the last couple of weeks that would love to have been able to hide from myself, because I didn't like the way my human self was feeling. I didn't like any of it, right? But what I realized was that, and there came, boy, it came full force, and I know some of you share this journey with me. I have post-traumatic stress, and the way it shows up is with panic disorder. And so for 20 years now, I haven't had panic disorder. I've managed it, right? Well, guess what? This week I got, on Thursday, was it, Mom? Thursday I'm in the shower, my trigger, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, because I've been feeling fragile, here comes the panic. And let me tell you something. I went racing down the hall half-dressed. I need help! I need help! There it was. It reared its head again after all this time, after I thought it was gone, and what I really wanted to do was hide from it. So think about what goes on for you, that thing that raises its head, that you want to run down the hall, going, I need help! And I calmed down, but you know, now I'm wanting to hide from it, because I'm afraid it's going to come again, because that's what it does. See? And so what I got the second time it happened, because it happened 2 days later, I got, okay, I can shift this from, I'm going to die here, to, okay, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. Wherever I am, God is. And make that my mantra so that I can get through it. Remember the truth of my being. Remember that no matter where I am, God is. I don't have to hide from this thing. But this is what we do to ourselves in so many ways in our life experience. We resist whatever's going on. We become so afraid of it that we go running down the hall half naked with, you know, this sense of panic. And we forget, I need to breathe into this. I need to claim my strength within this experience. I don't need to hide from this thing. I can relax into it, or I can react to it. I can let it build, you know, let it build this inner strength, or I can let it collapse and paralyze me, like it did for so many years. I got a choice here. I have a choice. I had medicine, but that's part of my journey because I'm a recovering alcoholic. I didn't want to take the medicine. That's part of the journey for me. I didn't want to take the medicine. I wanted to work it out a different way, see? Build that inner strength. Claim the courage. Claim all of the qualities that God is, that I am too. Claim all of that and connect with the truth and accept the isness of my experience in the moment. There was nowhere to go. No matter how far I would run down that hallway, it wasn't going to go away. I was still there. I was wherever I went, and so was that experience, until I got calm enough to relax into it, accept it, and claim through a courageous, you know, mindset, claim myself through the experience. And this is what I really want to say. Now, today, and Pema Chodron talks a lot about this in this particular chapter, I've got to be able to recognize the part of myself that gets embarrassed and gets filled with pain and fear around certain things. And not make that a bad thing. Not hide from that either. Let that be okay. Work with it. Bring it to the light. I didn't want to tell my mother I had panic because this is a scary thing in our family. I've had it since 1968. I didn't want to fire that thing up again, you know, because it's been simmered for all these years. There it was. There it was. It's embarrassing, it's painful, it's frightening when these things, whatever your thing is, and you all got stuff that comes up that scares the jabbers out of you, whenever those things show up. To allow it and to accept the fact that we are in this incredible divine experience of our radiance. But you know what? We're going to be human within that too. And so your invitation this week is to remember that we're always sort of in an in-between place with our humanity and our divinity. And we really don't have to hide from ourselves or from our experiences when we know the truth of who we are, but we have to give ourselves permission to get to that place, to get to that safe place, and then allow it to just be what it is. It is as it is. And that's part of this not hiding from life, is that acceptance of it just is as it is.